Hi, this is Chris McLoone, Senior Editor of Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment Magazine. I'm here today at Interschutz 2015, and I'm standing with Paul Darley. He's the President and CEO of W.S. Darley and Company. Most of us know it simply as Darley. I wanted to talk today a little bit about Darley's role in the global environment and about some of the Darley's history at Interschutz. So thanks again, Paul, for taking some time out for us.
Glad to be here.
Could you first talk about Darley's place in the global marketplace and how Interschutz is important to maintaining that place?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our company has actually been active in the international market, if you can imagine, since the 1940s. So after World War II, we built hundreds of fire trucks, thousands of pumps for the U.S. military. Those were then left around the world at the end of the war and became a springboard for our international business. So, and here in Europe, around the world, Darley's today international business represents over 50% of our fire business.
So 50% of your fire business, and you just mentioned Europe and other places. What are some of the major countries that are Darley customers?
While we're here in Europe, it's interesting. Europe has kind of protectionist standards that for the most part tend to keep American manufacturers out or make it difficult for American manufacturers. So this isn't one of our real strongholds. We did, however, do business last year in over 105 countries. And really strongholds for us are Asia, China in particular, but we do business all throughout Asia, Southeast Asia, from the Philippines to Vietnam to Indonesia, Malaysia, Burma, you name it, right? Singapore, we just are putting 45 compressed air foam systems this year into Singapore. We're very strong in Australia and New Zealand, and in fact, we're the primary pump supplier in both of those countries. The New Zealand Fire Service, I think we have roughly 98% of that market, and certainly a majority of the Australian market, for example. We're also strong in Latin America. Africa is a strong continent for us. We do very well. We just delivered 35 fire trucks last year to Lagos, Nigeria. We delivered a few years ago 25 into Ghana, Africa, and all countries actually in Africa. And then lastly, the Middle East is incredibly strong for us, and we're now making some nice headway in Eastern Europe where the protectionist standards aren't as stringent.
You alluded to some of the challenges into getting into certain markets, but obviously your products must be pretty adaptable. So could you talk a little bit about how you adapt your products to the countries that you serve?
Absolutely. I mean, there's basic things such as fittings and all, but it's interesting. I've been coming to Interschutz now 30 years. This is my 6th Interschutz. My father came for years before that. We introduced compressed air foam to this market 25 years ago, and today there's compressed air foam all over that's been adapted. One of the things that our pumps and our equipment is very adaptable to, and one of the things that you'll see as you walk around the exhibits here is a lot of electronics. So the Europeans, I think, are a bit ahead of the U.S. market when it comes to electronics. It doesn't mean that electronics aren't used in the United States market, but there's still a bit more of where firefighters, at least our market research says, they still want to be pulling down on a handle and turning a valve and turning a throttle, for instance. So, so our products are adapted into different marketplaces around the world. There's certain standards that we have to meet to compete, perhaps, for example, in the China market, where we'll ship on a typical year over 1,000 pumps a year. You have to go through very stringent CCC testing to be into that market. Here in Europe, to play in this market, we have to have CE approval. So there's different adaptations that we have to do to our product in order to meet those standards. And for the most part, they don't present a real challenge.
You've been attending Interschutz for 30 years now. This is your 6th one. Could you talk a little bit about how Interschutz has changed during those 30 years, and how has Darley's presence here changed?
Yeah, great. I'll tell you, one of the things that really stands out at you is the number of U.S. manufacturers who are here this year. And I think when I came 30 years ago, we were probably the only U.S. manufacturer who was present here, if you can imagine. Maybe one or two others, if that. So today, and we had a very small stand. Today we've got over, I think, 3,500 square feet of booth space here between us and our poly-built division, and over 35 staff members here just today as well. So, went from my father and I sitting in a 10 by 10 booth to today, over 40 people. This evening we have a reception with roughly 250 customers coming from roughly 100 countries. So, as I mentioned, we sell into roughly 100 international markets each year. here, and we have obviously our local representation, our local distributors in those countries here, and it makes it very easy for us to come to one location, be able to see all of those visitors, and then be able to share a meal with all of them this evening as we're doing.
Now, we've had FDIC International. We're now midway through Interschutz 2015. Been a lot of activity. You've certainly introduced products at FDIC. I'm sure you're introducing some here. What is next? Now that everything's going to kind of wind down, what's next for you?
I'll tell you, we have a lot of focus groups. We've got a great engineering team. We actually already have our list of 7 new products that we'll be introducing and that we're currently working on. It'll be introduced in April 2016 at the FDIC. So, I don't want to tip my hat on all of those things, but I will tell you that we're focused on compact design. Fire trucks today are roughly, when a fire truck rolls out of the station today, it's generally responding to a fire only about 4% of the time. So, compact design, economical price products, continuing to leverage our advancements. We're clearly the leader in compressed air foam, continuing to leverage our position in that market, as well as taking advantage of ultra high pressure. You can't walk around here without seeing a lot of ultra high pressure and high pressure for the European market and other markets. And we've also got some new portable pumps that we'll be introducing that are pretty slick as well.
Oh, great. Well, again, this has been Chris McLoone with Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment Magazine. My guest this afternoon has been Paul Darley. Paul, thanks again for taking some time out with us.
Nice being with you.
You too.